Namato Ratanatayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, and my respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening. So today is Sunday the 9th of August 2020. This is Ajahn Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen. So it's another beautiful day, and good evening Margaret, and good evening everyone. So at the center we have finally installed the window that was bought on a gum tree by Paul Dawson, and he kindly donated to the center. So finally, after weeks of planning, we have installed it. Ajahn Peter was planning quite some times on that project, so I finally managed to install that window. And then possibly today or tomorrow I'm going to order another new window for the middle section, and also needed woods. I have checked in a B&Q and they will deliver it as well. So possibly around, I checked the price, it was around £120 or something. So hopefully after order, the windows will arrive in 10 days, and we will be installing that in the middle section of the barn. Meanwhile, during this time, there are two other things to be done. That's the color, painting, and the floor. So there are another few things to be done in the barn. So, and this is a little bit of information what we have done today in the center. In the center. And again, a center, our Varapunya Meditation Center, we established this about 2012, with my leadership, but doesn't mean that it belongs to me. It belongs to all of us. Everyone is helping one another to grow, and helping one another to use the center appropriately for the benefit and happiness of all. And that's the reason why I always say to all that the center is here to facilitate, and we come together to learn together so we can grow in the Buddha's teachings, so we can apply in our day-to-day life to get the happiness. And that's why we have a motto called Helping Hands, Healing Hearts. So we help each other to grow in the path of the Dhamma, Buddha Dhamma Sangha, so we can heal our wounds and heal our all these mostly the mental problems. So we can help each other to grow in this path, grow and healing ourselves. In the meanwhile, once we have learned how to heal ourselves, once we have learned how to practice, and then simply we are spreading this news, spreading this good news to the rest of other people, those who are interested to learn and to heal themselves. And that's my initial thought, and I've been focusing on that. And so far, that's why I never call myself as a teacher or anything. I just here to share what I know to every one of you, those who would like to practice or learn. And with this, I am also growing along with you, and you're also learning new things, how Buddhism helps to grow in the teachings, and helping you. I hope that learning and a practice at the center has helped significantly in your life to deal with the difficult times. And the reason I'm telling these stories is simply because it's a link to the topic that we have been discussing, and that's about the right thought. And it's been a couple of days that I have been focusing on the so-called non-ill will thought, which is the right thought according to the Buddhism. Ill will thought is a wrong thought, or the violent thought is a wrong thought, or cruelty is a wrong thought. But non-ill will or non-malicious thoughts are the right thought. And basically in a form we have in Buddhism called the metta bhavana, or the practice of the metta or loving kindness, which is basically the main theme of the teachings of the Buddha. And that's why the center stands for. The center is here growing together and helping each other to learn and to get into this practice. So sharing each other, learning each other, and healing our wounds, right? And anxiety, stress, and troubles. And I think I've been saying so many times that although I live here, the center is not belongs to us. The center belongs to me. I am just here, take care, and a caretaker, and facilitating whoever would like to come and practice and learn about the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and the practice of meditation. Right? So that's again a form of a metta, that our center is open to all, that whoever would like to come and learn on meditation. And it's like the field, a field that we are working to make it a cultivatable or inducive for the cultivation. Whoever comes, then they can plant good seeds in their hearts and their minds, and take away that good seeds and heal their hearts, heal their wounds. And that's the kind of the translation of a metta. Metta is coming from the word mita, which means friendliness or friend. And when it's become metta, it's translated as a friendliness. And that's also benevolence, and also translated as love, and also translated as a loving kindness. And among these translations, pretty much, the Buddhist scholars agree that the closest meaning of a metta is the loving kindness. So there is a love and as well as kindness. And a simile is basically given by even the Buddha, that is the love of mother to the children. And that's how the metta is. The very moment when we practice metta, and this metta is not about any sexual relationship, it's not about a lustful relationship, but it's a genuine goodwill thought, genuine well-being thought, and wishing someone to be well and happy. So there's a genuine thought of bringing happiness to others people, as well as our own as well. So that is the metta. And in terms of this metta bhavana, there are so many techniques, so many people have introduced in different ways. But they have in a Visuddhimagga, again, Buddha Ghosa introduced this metta in very different ways, and the Buddha again spoke in different ways. But ultimately, all linking towards the finding the loving kindness and the practice of a loving kindness to one another. And basically, it's free from any hostility, any anxieties, free from any troubles of body and mind. These are the main factors of a practice of a loving kindness. And in terms of the development of a loving kindness, at first we may have to recite the words again and again, just to get used to with it. So it's become familiar with these words, like may you be safe, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be free from suffering, and so and so. And these are basically, we recite and continuously reciting it until it's become a second nature. That's why in our center every day, morning and evening, after chanting, we always share loving kindness to oneself and then to others, mostly others. And this has been a practice, and this is basically getting this mind to be used to with it, and remembering it, and gradually it's become our habit. And when it's become a habit, later on it's become a behavior and character, and that's how this practice of a loving kindness will embed it in our minds and our heart. That's the first way of developing. And the second way is, rather than thinking about the loving kindness or compassion, basically as you practice meditation, gradually you will understand the true nature, about your own body, about your own feelings, about your own mind. And with this understanding of these as they truly are, generally you project yourself into the others, and you see others as also part of ourselves. And as we are subject to getting old, sickness and death, they are too. As we feel pain, they feel too. As we feel unhappiness, they feel too. So with this, what happens is generally this loving kindness arises in your mind and heart, particularly in your heart. So it radiates from your heart, and you don't have to think of, I need to practice loving kindness, or I need to be mindful of being kind to someone, like that. Since you have understood the reality as such, that we are all vulnerable, and we are all subject to this change, and the end of the day, the death, then basically we develop this kindness to one another. And with this, it's become so nature of ourselves. Whenever you see someone, automatically you see this kindness arose in your heart. And sometimes when they do something wrong against you, or when sometimes they do something that against your wish, or sometimes they're just being very unkind in those things, and simply that time you will be able to understand that they haven't understood the consequences of it. Wish they have understood the consequences of it and will not behave in that way. So those sort of a loving kindness that generates. And I have said, and saying again and again, that if you want to check your practice of a meditation and how much you have developed, then you can check by how much you have developed this loving kindness in your mind and heart. The level of a loving kindness, the more the higher is, it shows the level of your understanding and the kindness that you have developed. Okay? So in the practice of a loving kindness, again, it's pretty similar to any other techniques of a meditation. But here again, simply, first thing you have to do is to relax yourself, and relax from all other techniques, meditation techniques that you have been practicing, whether the practice of a breathing meditation, or whether it's practice of a rising, falling of a meditation, or whether it is the concentration on any objects like the crystal, or even the recitation of the words, the Samma Arahang, Buddho, whatever. So you have to disconnect from these practices and simply relax yourself, free yourself, and then connecting yourself. These are the beginning of the practice. The very moment if you have now other objects at the back of your mind, and then that resist to develop this loving kindness. Okay? So that's why in the practice of a loving kindness meditation, always remember to share to yourself and then to someone else. And again, when we talk about someone else, it's not like opposite sex, but the same sex. And then again, not only the same sex, but also this, a person who is venerable and who we respect, and as an example that we can take, and that person is the second person we should think of. And the reason behind not having a same sex at first to share loving kindness is because if we are not mindful enough, then that may cause the lustful desire, and that can ruin your practice. Okay? So that's why we have to. There are in the Visuddhimagga also talks about the ways to practice loving kindness in different ways. There are stages until the person who is hostile to you, even a hostile people, a person, you should practice loving kindness. And as I said yesterday, that if you are a true Buddhist or a Buddhist monk, or have realized or understood the Buddha's teachings, when someone does something wrong to you, whether it is verbally or whether it is physically, if you have generated even the slightest anger or hostility towards that person, then you haven't understood the teachings of the Buddha yet. Right? So that's why it's a really, really important part of the practice of loving kindness. And the loving kindness, always remember to share to ourselves first before to anyone. But obviously we know that we love and we care others, and we spend a lot of time thinking about others, a lot of time caring about others, and spend a lot of time thinking of their well-beings. Very less time, or probably some people may not spend even a time thinking about their own well-being and own safety and happiness. So it's quite awkward to when we say that you have to share loving kindness to yourself first. It's quite a bit of an awkward practice for so many, particularly in the West. Here, even in Aberdeen, I have met so many people found very, very uncomfortable to practice the loving kindness to themselves, and they couldn't comprehend that how important practice of a loving kindness to themselves. And even I have come across with the stories that when I was teaching in different places, some people said that I can think of others, I can share loving kindness to others, think of a goodwill for others, but to myself I found very, very difficult. I feel so resistant and even feel angry at myself, like that. So practice of a loving kindness is basically the self-care. Self-care begin with. And it's like the Buddha used simile, if you can't swim, you cannot save the drowning people. Or if you doesn't know how to swim, and you saw that, you shouldn't be jumping in there, despite of how much you care for that person or how much you have compassion towards that person. Okay, so first you have to share loving kindness. Basically, you need to be fit to look after someone else. Okay, so that's the practice. And here, I just will bring this one story that Devadatta was Buddha's cousin who became a monk, and after becoming a monk, he went on practice meditation, And after the practice of a meditation, he even got the jhanas and absorptions, and then the supernatural powers. And somehow he wanted to be the leader of the Sangha, and went up to talk to the Buddha, saying that, Venerable Sir, and Master, you are old now, the Sangha has spread and grown up, and let me handle the Sangha. And the Buddha said, no, you are not. I even didn't give Sariputta to look after the Sangha. And so and so. And with that jealousy and ill will towards the Buddha, the Venerable Devadatta had caused so many troubles to the Buddha, even hired the bandits to kill, even drunk the elephant, and release the elephant on the way where the Buddha was walking, and he even used a stone from the mountain to crush the Buddha, like that. And in particular, one very interesting story is that having the thought of destroying or killing the Buddha, he used a very strong elephant and let this elephant drink alcohol, and release this elephant on the way where the Buddha was coming. So it doesn't matter human or it doesn't matter animal. When you drink a lot of alcohol, that causes a trouble, and this is how we are having a trouble here in Aberdeen. It's not a blame to those who are drinking and those who went out and have fun in the pubs, but simply, once you have drunk or under the influence of alcohol, it's very difficult to take control of your senses, and that's why it is known as the substance that clouds your mind, and you become unconscious, and you will not be able to define what is good, what is wrong. And similarly, this elephant also got drunk and just released on the way where the Buddha was coming. So everyone was so frightened and ran away. At that very moment, Venerable Ananda stepped at the front of the Buddha, hoping to save the Buddha, protecting the Buddha. So that good, that much attendance that the Ananda did. He was happy even to die for the Buddha. And having seen this terrible angry elephant coming towards the Buddha told Ananda that, leave the way, let me handle with it. At that very moment when the elephant was so fastly running towards the Buddha simply did the loving kindness meditation. Now remember, it is the Buddha did the loving kindness, not we. Okay? If tiger comes or if any angry animal comes, do not think that you can do as the Buddha did. Right? You just run if it's possible. And this is a special case of the Buddha. So Buddha just stood and did the loving kindness meditation. And the scripture says that somehow elephant just bow down to the Buddha due to the great compassion of the Lord Buddha. So that is the practice of a loving kindness. And again, obviously, loving kindness always brings happiness to ourselves and then to others. Doesn't matter who. All the matter is having this thought of a loving kindness. And there is another story from the scripture as well, that Queen Mallika, she was very devoted to the Buddha, but she didn't have the audience with the Buddha much. But somehow her servant Kujutara normally visits the Buddha and listens the teachings of the Buddha and comes to transfer it to the Queen Mallika. And with that, and the king had another queen, step queen, who was completely against with the Buddha. And having seen that Queen Mallika was so devoted to the Buddha, she tried to do anything to hurt Malika, and it took so deeper and so harsh and so nasty that she even planned to kill Malika by burning whole palace. And she did it too. And when the palace was burning and nobody can come out from the palace because the old doors were shut, Queen Malika simply gathered all the staffs and everyone in that palace and let them meditate on the loving kindness, because she knew that there is no escape. And as a result, she simply invited everyone to have meditation, and they start meditating, and they died on the loving kindness meditation, and they were burnt to death. And their minds were simply, very calm and collected, as it was said. But later, when the king realized that it was not the fire, but it was genuinely set the fire by someone, and he simply said, "Oh, who did this wonderful job? The Malika was like a pain in my ass, always causing a trouble to me. Now someone who has a kind thought has burned it down and killed them. How wonderful!" And suddenly this step queen comes, this is me, I did it for you. And then the king realized that no, this is the case. So king punished this queen, and Buddha went into the Buddha, and Buddha said that someone who practices loving kindness, despite they die, but they live. But someone who harbor the ill will and malicious thoughts, despite they are still alive, they are like a dead people. Okay? And even this we can see in ourselves too, in our practice or in our experience as well. That very moment when we harbor ill will or this malicious thought, it's like it's killing us every moment, every night, every day. It's like we are living in a hell while we are alive. But whereas when we eradicate this thought of ill will or malicious thoughts, and generating this right thought of a kind and goodwill thought, we feel so calm, we feel so lighter, and we feel so joy and happiness. And that's the one that we have to develop. That's the one what we have to cultivate. So I offer this as a tonight's reflection here, and thank you everyone for listening. And with this, the good deed, may you all be well and happy, and stay safe, take care, and may the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you for your good health and successful life until you attain the Nibbana. Thank you and bless you. In a few moments time we will have the evening chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. Thank you.